Hey, what's going on? My name is Gavin Techlet. I'm a retired police sergeant turned full-time entrepreneur. And in this video, we're going to talk about starting your cashless ATM business. So starting your cashless ATM business is simple, but not easy. But we're actually going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to get yours started this week. Okay. So the way I like to follow things is through frameworks, right? And this helped me in actually corporate America. It helped me within law enforcement, it helped me within the military. You get the point. So the reason I bring this up is because at the end of the day, I can give you a bulletproof plan, but when you're in the mix, you're gonna forget. So what I like to do is follow a 4-step process to actually start this business, all right? So number one is actually going to be business formation, right? Now, the reason I bring this up is because you want to start with the foundation whenever you're doing anything, all right? It's like if you're in carpentry or you're like a blue collar work, you know, like, hey, if that foundation ain't right, hey, the building's coming tumbling down. So now in this business, it's nothing different. And the reason I bring this up is because at the end of the day, when you're starting something, you have to look long term, all right? You have to look in a long time horizon, as a lot of like other business people say. But ultimately, the way you want to look at this is like this. You're not starting some just thing on the side. You're starting something that's going to grow into something bigger. So based on that, you have to act accordingly. So when it comes down to business formation, there's a few things. The first thing is going to be your actual LLC. Okay. So when I say LLC, that stands for your limited liability company or limited liability corporation. The reason I bring that up is because it's usually not like paid attention to, but ultimately it's very important because first of all, you're starting a business. You want to protect yourself for any liability. You want to protect yourself from paying as little taxes as possible. But in addition to that, you want to be professional because when you go from location number 1 to location number 10, you're going to see a major difference in the way you act and the way you start investing into things. So you want to start with that. Okay. And if you need another video on actually forming your LLC, we have a separate video absolutely free you can check out on our YouTube channel too. Okay. So now you have your actual LLC. The next thing you want to do is get your EIN. That stands for your employee identification number, right? That is free. It's from the IRS directly. Go to irs.gov, check it out. You can file it between, I think, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Do not pay for the service. It's absolutely free. Okay. So now you have your two things when it comes down to the business formation. Well, the third thing you're going to need within that is going to be your bank account. So get a business checking account. It might be your first time. It's okay. Make sure you get a business checking account. You can go to Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, any bank you want to. Just make it simple. Form it. Tell them you're actually going to be doing credit card processing. You're going to actually be the intermediary or just say you're an agent for credit card processing and you're going to be able to open that. Okay. So that's number one. Next thing you're going to need right here is going to be your ISO or MSP. So don't get caught up in terminology. It doesn't matter. ISO stands for Independent Sales Organization. MSP stands for Merchant Services Provider. Guess what? Who cares? You just want to find a company to work with to process the credit card payments. And here's the reason why I bring this up. At the end of the day, the thing that connects Visa, MasterCard, Amex to the actual merchant is that intermediary and a bank. So you have to work with one of them because you're not going to want to be one of them yourself until you're scaled to it. I mean, talking like 100 locations or more. But even then you may not want to because there's a lot of things on the back end. But I digress. You're going to want to partner with the right company. And here's a few things you want to look for when you're partnering with this company. You want to make sure you have fair rates. And when I say fair rates, there's percentage splits. The industry is cutthroat. I'm going to leave it like that. You already know how it is. So you want to make sure you're profiting off of the actual people you're actually signing up. In addition to that, you want to make sure you get good pricing on equipment, which I'm going to go into in a second. So you want to make sure when you're actually getting the equipment for these merchants that you sign up, that you're going to get fair pricing. You're going to have the most available equipment. So you're not locked into like 2 or 3 different models or 2 or 3 different companies. And in addition to that, you need support because let's be realistic. Yeah, you may actually scale to 10, 15, 20 locations, but check this out. If, for example, you have a technical question, because it's going to come up. Think about it. You go to a doctor's office, a lawyer, whatever. They may have some integration question. You need someone to be able to lean on to actually make it work for you. Okay. So those are the things you want to look for when you're getting your actual ISO or MSP or just the company you want to work with to process your payments. Now, number 3, equipment. So when I say equipment, this is what I'm referring to. Yes, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different like brands of like processors, like POS systems or devices, etc. I'm not referring to that. You want to have starter equipment. So people are visual creatures. It is what it is. When I talk to you and I say, think of a pink elephant, what do you think of? You imagine it in your head. So when you're talking to a merchant to actually secure the deal, I like to actually have a device handy, because think about it. You're trying to picture what I'm talking about right now, but if I had a credit card device, you would immediately recognize that. So you want to make sure you have a starter device handy with you at all times. Think of it as like your business card. So when you go to that location, they're going to say, well, what does it look like? Oh, I actually have an example right here. Show them where it's going to be, so they actually picture the vision of where they're going to be working with you. You might even place that thing on their counter and say, this is exactly what your employee is going to do. This is how you're going to swipe the card. The receipt paper goes here, etc. So you can show the vision. In addition to that, for equipment, like I mentioned, you want to make sure you have all equipment available to you. And what I mean by that is you want to have different variety of equipment models and pricing, because depending on the type of location, you may need different things. A doctor's office, for example, they may just have a simple device that's placed at the entrance where the reception's at. A freaking restaurant, for example, well, guess what? They may have like 17 different devices. They're going to have a register. They may need to have to do inventory management, whatever. But you want to make sure you have a wide variety of that. So that's number 3. The 4th thing, man, if you get one thing out of this video, guys, the one thing I want you to pay attention to is locations, right? It is possible to lose money. I'm going to say that again. It is possible to lose money in this industry depending on the location, right? And I'm not saying this to scare you. I like for you to have realistic expectations, okay? So here's what I mean by that. You're typically going to have a percentage that you split between the actual company you're working with and the actual card brands, the bank, et cetera. There's all this stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But depending on the rate that you have at this company, you may end up owing money, especially if this location doesn't process enough, right? So the rule of thumb I always like to say is about however much the location processes a month. So say they do $100,000 a month, you would take 1% of that and say it as your profit. And that would be typically pretty fair. So if you go to, say, for example, like a grocery store, they could do $100,000 a month. Restaurants would do like $50,000 a month. Tire shops or smog shops, if you're in California, they do about like $25,000 a month. And I'm not saying every business does that. I'm giving you some examples so you can picture like what you're looking for. So with that being said, now you do the location that is like, say, a restaurant that's doing $50,000 a month. You're making $500 a month. Well, say, for example, you do a taco truck that's only doing, say, $5,000 a month. You get them a freaking advanced system that costs like $6,000. In addition to that, they're high risk and all these different factors. You end up owing money per month. So you want to stick to simple locations, okay? What I mean by that is brick and mortar, retail locations, just like I mentioned, grocery stores, liquor stores, gas stations, different places you can find on Google Maps or something similar like that. But you want to keep it simple when you start. Here's the reason why. As you get some momentum, just like they said in the Marine Corps, you get some pep in your step. You start leaning back, your shoulders, you start rocking it because you're getting more confident because you have more locations. Keep it simple when you start. And I guarantee you'll be successful, guys, right? So in recap, these are the 4 steps you're going to need to start your actual merchant services or cashless ATM business. You're going to need your business formation, your actual company you're working with, the equipment, and you're going to need your locations. I want you to hit the like and subscribe button if you like this video. And if you want more content of something similar, make sure you comment down below, guys.